Well, good evening, everyone. As we begin this meeting, I will ask everyone to please silence cell phones and other electronic devices and remind council that our procedure bylaw prescribes the use of technology during council meetings. It's 6:30 p.m. I'll call this council meeting to order. Land acknowledgement is an act that predates European settlement and was an opportunity for visiting Indigenous nations to acknowledge the land that they were visiting and seeking opportunities on. In Brighton, we acknowledge that we are meeting this evening on territory that is the traditional territory of the Mississauga and Anishinaabe, now of Alderville. We are grateful for the opportunities that the lands and waters that we now know as Brighton provides for us and work to set policies that will help us work to be better stewards of this place. We are grateful to Indigenous neighbors who continue to work to make this place sustainable for all creation. I have a motion moved by Councillor Rowley, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson, that council approve the February 2nd, 2026 council agenda as presented. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Being none opposed, that motion's carried. Members of council have any declarations of pecuniary interest, and if so, please state the general nature thereof. There are none noted. Are there any announcements this evening? Councillor Rowley.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Just a quick reminder that beginning yesterday, February 1, we are now in Black History Month. So once again, we celebrate and honor the legacy and contribution of Black people in Canada and in their communities.
Thank you. Councillor McCausland.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Rowley, for saying that. I just wanted to remind everybody that on February the 13th from 7 to 8:30, there is a Heart Disco Skate at King Edward Arena. See everyone there.
Thank you for that. Anyone else? I would have a rather sad announcement. I think everybody probably knows about the fire that took place at the end of last week in our neighboring community of Crammy Township. All of Crammy's neighbors came out to help. Brighton, Trent Hills, Alnwick, Haldeman all had firefighters on scene. The OPP, of course, were on scene. 3 firefighters from other services were injured, so we wish and pray for their speedy recovery. Nothing too serious, I understand, Chief, but we still hope that they're back in action as soon as they can be. Sadly, of course, as I think most people know, one of the residents perished in the blaze. And the other 23 residents have been housed, at least temporarily, thanks in no small part to county emergency services and social services for doing their part and pulling together. So we will think of and honor the victim and their family as they go through what must be an incredibly difficult time. The family is a local family, so they're hurting at the end of the day. So, Chief, I want to just thank you and your team for the hard work we did. I know our new aerial truck got a workout and it was put to the test and fared well. So thank you for your work, and thank you for our friends from Trent Hills and Alnwick Haldeman also who came out and did their job. But appreciate that. Are there any other announcements? Moving to the adoption of the minutes, I have a motion moved by Councillor Rowley, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson, that Council approve the January 26, 2026 special council meeting minutes as presented. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? There being none opposed, that motion's carried. The motion moved by Councillor McCausland, seconded by Councillor Wheeldon, that Council approve the January 26, 2026 council planning meeting minutes as presented. Is there any discussion? Those in favor? There being none opposed, that motion's carried. And a motion moved by Councillor McCausland, seconded by Councillor Wheeldon, that Council adopt the January 28th, 2026 special council meeting minutes as presented. Is there any discussion? Those in favor? Any opposed? The motion is carried. We have no statutory public meeting this evening, which brings us to delegations and presentations. Council will hear 2 presentations. Presenters have 15 minutes to provide council with their information. It is noted that language, content, and conduct must always remain respectful. Council will be provided with an opportunity to ask questions of clarification from the presentation representatives based on the information that they have presented. Council is reminded that this is not an opportunity to engage in debate with the presenters nor advance a public policy position. Presenters are reminded that council does not make decisions during the presentation portion of this evening's meeting. First presentation comes from the Brighton Public Library Board, Chair Hill and CEO Ratz. Friends, I turn the floor over to you. And Rick, there's a button at the side there that will raise that podium if that's more comfortable for you.
I only have a quick thing to say, and then Heather's going to do most of the presentation. I just wanted to say that we, like everyone else in Brighton, we got our property tax bills in the email today, and we looked at the Brighton budget bulletin that came with it, and we were very pleased to see that the Brighton Library Board is officially listed as one of the partners of the municipality. And so that partnership is certainly one that's very valuable to the library, and I obviously feel it's a value to you too. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Hill. Very few people are pleased to receive their property tax bill, so I'll take it.
All right. Nice to see everyone tonight. Thanks for having us here. The last time we presented to council was in January of 2025, and I think that was to present our new strategic plan. So tonight, we're not doing that, and I'm not here to dazzle, well, maybe a little bit, but I'm not here to overwhelm you or dazzle you with charts and pie charts and all kinds of stats and things like that. I'm just here to provide a brief summary, an overview of our highlights from 2025. And let's get started and check it out. So the joy of discovery and the power of connection. This is literally how we roll. Everything we do, we try and connect people with and help them to discover resources, collections, different people, all of that sort of thing. And literally with donations like the one we received last year from the Brighton Lions Club. We received a sum in memory of Don Colby, and we were able to buy this book sale cart, which is in our lobby. And there is a plaque on there with Don's name on it as well. So that is how we roll. Let's roll on to the next slide. So this is a very brief list of our highlights of 2025. In January, we presented the new strategic plan. In February, we rolled out the new website. I will say we love the new website. I know Andrea Wilden really loves the new website. It is user-friendly. There is an online event registration portion. We asked for user input when we put the website together. So it is very user-friendly, and I'm very pleased with how it is working so far. We did have a big board shuffle in 2025. Do you think that's a dance? Rick? It is not a dance, but we did get 3 new board members in 2025, including Councillor McCausland. And thank you to Councillor Rowley for everything that you did while you were sitting on the library board. And we have 2 other new board members as well. In terms of new collections, we've introduced a very small collection of adult French and Spanish, and that was based on some feedback that I received and some requests to start that collection. So we're starting small, and we hope that we can build on that and that it will be useful to our community. We also have something called the tween section in the children's section. So that's they don't want to be called kids, but they're not quite teens, so 10 to 12. They're not in the picture books, but they're not into the teen material yet, as far as their parents know anyways. We're also making lots of connections in the community with organizations. We're connecting people to different resources, whether it's library resources or community resources. And we are very pleased to bring back the home delivery service. So this is a service that the Friends of the Library used to provide for us. Unfortunately, they disbanded in 2022 due to COVID and other personal reasons. So we left the home delivery service for a few years, but in 2025, the Center for Equitable Library Access, they changed some of their service delivery, and we knew that was going to affect a few of our patrons. So we brought it back, and I'm happy to say we have 6 people signed up at the moment. Now, just to make it clear, you do have to qualify for that service. It's not like somebody calls up and says, yeah, I'm not feeling like going out today, and can you pick me up a pizza on the way? Like, you bring my DVDs. It isn't that kind of service. These are for homebound people in the community, and they're homebound permanently or on a temporary basis. For example, if they've had surgery and they don't have anyone else that can bring the material to them, our volunteers do that for us. So staff look after it and volunteers make it work, and we're so thankful for that. Next slide. The Brian Todd grant. We were so pleased to receive $800, and with that we were able to purchase 2 Lego tables. So I get to the office between 8 and 8:30 every morning, and I like to wander around. I look at the collections, look at the displays, what needs to improve, that sort of thing. And this, the Lego table caught my eye because I think there's a story here. We're not sure what it is, but we're glad that these Lego tables are like building your adventure. So very pleased with that. When somebody says to me that they don't use the library because they don't read, or they read but they buy their own books. Okay, I get it. I buy books as well. But the library is so much more than just books. We have park passes and board games and CO2 monitors. CO2 monitors. Isn't that good? A seed library, puzzles, 24/7 free Wi-Fi access, comfortable seating, great staff, water when you need it in summer. We've got air conditioning, we've got heat. Thank you to the municipality for all of those services. So we have all of these things that are so much more than books. And of course, we have great collections of books as well. I will say that in 2025, the park passes circulated 133 times. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but 8 of those, the CO2 numbers went out 8 times. So very pleased to see numbers like that. We also have Lego kits. So if you want to create your own adventure at home and take pictures of it, please do. That's what we have. Next slide, please. So I said I wasn't going to overwhelm you with stats. So these are just a few. In 2025, we had 277 library programs. At those programs were 3,556 attendees. 201 meeting space bookings. Now, those are space bookings that are non-library, so community organizations, kids that want to study, personal meetings, that sort of thing. So that's an average of 16.75 bookings per month, which I think is very telling as to what the community values and what the community needs. We also had 4,115 computer uses, and that could be anything from lots of gaming, printing those tickets to those sunny destinations, research, all of that. So we think that is huge. And you don't need a library card to do that, and you don't need a library card to book the meeting room either. So there are lots of people, I think, that are using the library that don't even have a card. So we've got to them in some way further, but it's nice to know they're using what they need. We also had 15 pop-up libraries in 2025, and that does not include the Brighton Digital Archive pop-ups, because those numbers would increase quite a bit if I included them in this slide. So we were out on Canada Day, the Pride event, the Codrington Farmers Market, including the Christmas market. We were at Presqu'île store to see if we could sell some book sale items to visitors. So we were out and about. It's one of my favorite things to do. I know that the summer starts when I do the July 1st Canada Day pop-up. So very fortunate to be doing those and meeting people where they are, which is very important. I also want to say, just with that slide, that I also have one staff member that monthly she goes out to Maplewood and Applefest Lodge to make sure that their little libraries are clean and tidy and full of material. So we will give them discarded material or material from our book sale, and they're very pleased with that. It's okay if they go missing or they go to someone's room, they don't come back. It's all good. When we provide service to the community, the staff team is also doing a lot of learning. All staff had cybersecurity training last year. Homelessness, of course, was and continues to be a huge topic. We are always fighting this and disinformation. And of course, we like to reflect on calls to action beyond just September 30th. So we want to do that all year round. And I know for a fact that staff were doing that. And of course, mental health and wellness is always on our minds. I would like to point out that my assistant librarian, Kim, who's fabulous, is here. And this is part of Kim's professional development because she's been to a few council meetings. She said it was something about a cat protest. It wasn't library related, although it sounds like it should have been. But this is part of Kim's learning to see what goes on in the CEO role and just council in general in case she ever steps up to that role. I'm not. Thank you for asking. This is succession planning before it needs to happen. But you never know, right? So looking ahead to this year, this is a very brief list of what we know is going to happen in 2026. I know that we have 6 music events planned. We will do some Olympic screenings. We have Dan Buchanan come 3 times to talk about local history. And what I've learned very quickly is that when you have music or Dan, the people will come. Those are some of our best events, great turnouts for those. We do have a resident bird nerd. Councillor Wright will be doing Bird Nerd Part 2 for us, I believe, in March. In March, we also have the seed exchange, which is sort of the kickoff to the gardening season. I will not be gardening in March, I can tell you that right now, but it's a good time to pick up seeds. October is Canadian Library Month, so that is going to be our membership month when we do a big drive to see if we can get more people signed up and actively using their library. We have a writing group in process. The thing I love about this one is patron-led. So at the end of 2025, a patron approached me and said, I have this knowledge. I'd like to share it. What do you think? I said yes. And now it's in the calendar. And we're hoping to build on that with perhaps a writing circle, if that goes well. And AI exploration, this is a huge area for me this year. This is one of my areas of learning, especially generative AI. I was at the OLA conference last week. I took a half-day session on this, and I feel like I'm so behind, but at the same time, I'm happy that I'm not using it until I really know the risks, the benefits, how can we use it to the best of our ability, and do we even need to use it at all? So lots of exploration there. And we know that we're going to have bad days, so everyone needs a workplace cat, I think. You know, saving grace. Look at that little kitty. Aw. Aw. it up for me. I feel like we are the opening act because I think the main event is happening afterwards. But I just want to say thank you for having us here. We're very happy to be part of this community and providing the services that we do. And we love to see what the future holds. Thank you.
Thank you, CEO.
And thank you for being a partner with the Library Board Council.
I can say that the library staff and board make it easy to be good partners. So thank you for that. I will note that Arthur, the aardvark, everyone remembers Arthur, of course, sang.
That's a bit dated.
I know, but that's because my children are, you know, they're late 20s now. So sang, you know, getting by isn't hard if you have a library card. So I don't know why people wouldn't have their library card, not just because of Arthur, but because of all the resources you provide. So thank you for that.
Exactly. Thank you.
Thank you. And you did the Council of Robbie Burns Day, I noticed.
I know I'm scheduling, but by then everyone's forgotten. So we're going to try it next year again.
We'll see how that
Yes.
works out for you. Members of council, any questions for the library board? Go ahead, Councillor McCausland.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you. I don't have a question, just more or less a comment. I just wanted to say that being involved, getting on board, I guess, within the last year has been great. And you guys do a lot of good work. So keep up the good work. And I appreciate learning every new bit of information that you guys do at the library.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Councillor Butwell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Semi-serious, has the library ever considered doing like cat fostering?
Kim? We've had kitten showers.
Yeah.
Raise,
I've given.
yes. Kittens find good homes. In terms of fostering, I don't know, there's automatic doors downstairs.
Understood. Just
But anything we can do to help our furry friends, yes. If you have any specific ideas, please let me know, because we're always happy to support that.
thanks.
I mean, I think the library should be like a cat cafe. There should be just a few cats wandering around while you're looking at the books and the magazines and so forth.
Yes.
But so far that hasn't come into being.
Right? Except I'm not sure if any work would get done. Exactly.
Go ahead.
Completely unrelated. Whenever I pass through, I notice there's always people moving about. Has there ever been discussion, and perhaps I've missed it in minutes, has there been discussion about long-term expansion of the library? As things change and the library kind of moves more towards being a hub versus just a place to house and rent out books?
Right. Well, I don't know if you know former board chair Bob Burke, he always says that if we just knock that wall down and go over to the fire department, kick them out, that would be great. But in all seriousness, I did speak with Vicky and the consultant late last year, because I wanted to get it on the record that I would love for the library to be involved in the rec center whenever that happens, and whatever that would look like. I think that would be a great fit, and it makes sense.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you, CEO Ratz. Chair Hill, appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have a motion moved by Councillor Rowley, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson, that council receive the presentation from the Brighton Public Library Board, Chair Rick Hill and CEO Heather Ratz, an overview of 2025 accomplishments. Is there any discussion? All in favor? There being none opposed, that motion's carried. Next presentation comes from the Brighton Digital Archives, and I see just one. Ralph's too shy. Very shy. Well, we won't take his Citizen of the Year award away from him.
Okay, now I got a stroke.
Floor is yours.
Thank you. Mayor Ostrander, council staff, thank you for giving me the opportunity to, I was going to say update you on the Brighton Digital Archives, but many of you weren't here when we were conceived. So it's an introduction for some of you. I'm joined this evening by my colleague Ralph De Jong and former Citizen of the Year, aka the man who makes us look very good all the time. He and I are two of the original founders of the BDA. We are somewhat accidental archivists, and we hesitate to call ourselves that because we have no training whatsoever, but boy, do we have experience. We were part of a larger group who met at Hilton Hall in 2015 to come up with ways to animate it. It was underused. It's a municipally owned building. It's designated heritage building, and members of the Heritage Advisory Committee wanted to do something. We went in with ideas to help, and somehow we came out having formed the Brighton Digital Archives. I have no idea how that happened. Ralph can't remember how it happened, but here we are. We initially operated under the auspices of Heritage Advisory, but our activities soon exceeded the scope of that committee. Then we became our own committee of council. And because we all work together, we team up when we're on special projects, filming, whatever. That became a quorum issue, a public meeting issue, a thing. So that didn't work. Then municipal staff recommended a trade to the Brighton Public Library Board, and here we are. It's a good fit, and we're very thankful for the warm welcome from the library, and they are a lot of fun. They would be more fun if they had cats. We are beginning our 11th year of service to the municipality. From the beginning, we knew we had to get things right. We didn't want to backtrack. We didn't want to have boxes of things and no paperwork to go with it. So we headed to Coburg to the Northumberland County Archives, spoke with the archivist there, and we came up with drafts of temporary loans, usage rights and restrictions, best practices, and we adopted those for our group. When I say adopted, I really mean we just cut and pasted and removed their logo. So they're tried and true. We figured out a way to track assets. We then improved upon it as we added new public portals, social media, our online database, public displays like those in the lobby of this building, at the Coddington Community Center, the Hops Barn, and other community events. As our knowledge grew, our public engagement expanded. And when I say expanded, I mean exploded. Within the first year, our collection took on a life of its own. Within 3 years, our lives revolved around bankers' boxes and dusty photo albums, and we were thrilled and still are thrilled. Then we got really busy. Local families began offering their collections, the Bangays and their Memory Junction collection. Everybody probably visited Memory Junction, all the things that were in the cabooses everywhere, and boxes of things you've never seen are in Ralph's basement and my garage. Angie, Ralph's wife, has some things to say about that. Bud and Joker 10, massive collection of postcards, including about 400 related solely to Brighton. We have digitized all of those. Liz Chatton and her Solomon collection, the Solomons and the Thayers, that family were some of the original settlers of Brighton. We have 377 pictures from 1917, all of Brighton, and most of the people in them are identified. It's a magical collection. Howard Goodfellow of the Goodfellow Road Goodfellows and his curated history of the family farms of Codrington. We're working on that with him. It really is an embarrassment of riches, and we are determined to digitize each image or document to international archive standards. There's a lot of learning. There's even some backtracking. We are currently redigitizing the Latimer collection, which is a photo or a gallery of 450 plus photos taken between 1927 and 1941 by Hugh Latimer, whose father owned the Latimer General Store in Orland. It's an incredible collection. We have some really neat plans for that for this year. We also have funding for it, so I'm not here to ask for money. But, you know, if the urge is there. We have a lot of things in the work, and I have to point out that this is the very, very tip of the iceberg. When we began this adventure, those with experience with archives, that each image we brought in would take approximately 30 minutes to process. And that's from meeting with somebody, getting them to sign the paperwork, digitizing it, editing it, and putting it on our online database. So that's 30 minutes. Ralph remembers 30 minutes. I remember 60 minutes, but we'll go with his for the purposes of this. That's 30 minutes per image. As I mentioned, the larger collections are out there, but so are many other smaller collections, many more. We estimate we currently have perhaps, and I say estimate because when we open our banker's box, we don't know what's in there. Be nice if we're a kitten, but we don't know what's in there. We estimate that we probably have 35,000 images of or relating to Brighton. And that's not like multiple pages of a deed. That's images. That's 35,000. Now I'll take you back to half an hour per image. Mr. Creamer, you can do the math on this. I'm a journalist. I'm not an accountant, but that's about 8.5 years of 40-hour weeks just to process what we have right now. Did I mention we are 8 volunteers? There's no oohing and awing at this point. In addition to the wealth of historical images we are processing, we have a few other projects on the go. We produce original content and post it to our YouTube channel. We currently have 79 videos uploaded with more than 37,000 views. Last year, we had, I don't have that figure. Yes, I do. Hold on a sec. 17,000 views on our YouTube channel of totally Brighton related video. Of the 35,000 images we think we have more than 3,000 images uploaded to our online database. Let's call that Brighton's online history database. Of those 3,000 images, we had more than 25,000 hits last year. We've published 9 annual calendars. We started out publishing with the Barn calendar, 500. We quickly went back to council and council found a way to publish another 500. Thank you for that. We learned our lesson. The next year we published 1,000. The next couple of years we published 1,000. This year we're up to 15,000 and I have 4 left. So they are a huge uptake and we give them out at no charge. Somebody wants to make a donation, great, but they are given out for free and thank you for that funding as well. That makes it possible. We participate in Canada Day, Presqu'île's History Week, Applefest, the Codrington Christmas Market, and we were a partner in planning the inaugural Ag Day, it's Ag, not Egg, Day at Codrington, where more than 400 people came through the hops barn, and that was the first public opening of the hops barn. They were thrilled, they loved the displays, and we hope to continue that this year. We do have plans for the future. Ralph insists we're all getting older, which is a good thing, and we won't do this forever, although he hasn't defined forever. With that in mind, we have a bit of a dream, and we ask council to please keep this in mind. We see a time when the library expansion includes an archive lab, a place where a dedicated, qualified archivist continues this work, where people can come in, where locals can come in, or visitors who are from Brighton or have Brighton connections can come in and sit with somebody who knows what they're doing with the technology and can digitize their own portion of Brighton's story. We know that that's the library in this office is extremely cramped. We know that's not an immediate thing, but as we plan for the future, that would be wonderful to have that opportunity. There is a collection and there is interest. It's important to mention we're not doing this in a vacuum. This is an incredible community effort. It's based on cooperation and above all trust. Local historians like Dan Buchanan and Susan Bose, who have done years of research, share willingly. They share their expertise, their research, their materials, and they do it very kindly. We have not been called idiots in a long time, and they're phenomenal at it. And it's not just Dan and Susan, it's people like John Stevens and Mark Scanlon and Liz Chatton and, people who have been in this community quietly amassing history of the community and saying, I have this, would you like it? Yes. One of the things that's really important is people come to us with their collections. There are no other copies. There are no copies. There are the originals. Most times has anything that exists elsewhere, and they hand it to us. Trust is a huge thing. our work and our reputation and the captivating history of the former village of Brighton and the hamlets surround it that used to make up the township of in Township have caught interest from afar. I'm really happy because the emails come to me and the Facebook messages come to me, and it's pretty weird. We have a curious following in the Philippines. I don't know. Gibb, and he would not talk about Owen Gibb unless he could talk about Owen Gibb being part of the Lions Club. So we tagged on social media Lions International. Somebody in the Philippines picked it up, and now we're followed by about 3 or 4 different Lions clubs in the Philippines. I really hope that's who they are. Give me the comfort of going with that theory. We also recently had an academic researcher who's working on a documentary contact us. She's in North Macedonia. I have to look it up. It's somewhere beyond Codrington. She's doing a documentary about a celebrated German audio engineer who spent his last years in Brighton, Paul Voigt. We'd never heard of him, but we're all fairly new to Brighton, and we put that on social media, and the responses were amazing. This community really steps up with information. I don't know if it's been of any help to her. Dan Buchanan's working with it right now, and again, there's comfort in that. 2 of the photos we put on, types of photos we put on social media, always get lots of commentary, and it's class photos and sports teams photos. Old rivalries, connections of competing together fade. And every once in a while, Gosport has to remind us that they beat Hilton. It's a sore spot, but we have to live through real history, believe it or not. Digital archive. But I did bring a PowerPoint today. Yours was very good, Heather. I wanted to go face to face because that's what we do with us. We are more face to face than we are digital. People trust us with their one-off family collections, and that means the world to us. It's confidence, and we're building a community. We're showing how great Brighton's past is. And that's why I wanted to speak to you personally tonight, and I thank you for your time. I thank you for your past support, and I thank you for your ongoing support. This is a very special project, and we're honored to be part of it. Thank you. And I have statistics if anybody wants.
Thank you, Mrs.
Thank you.
Stud. I can imagine that yours and Ralph's garages look like the final scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark, where they're trying to of the custom. Questions for members of council?
Super.
So I don't want to call you out, but you said you printed 15,000 calendars. That was a miss.
1,500. I'm sorry.
Okay. And I just,
You were supposed to correct me, Ralph.
what's 0 among friends? I get it.
I did have to qualify that I am a journalist. I saw I'm the director of finance.
As do we. Go ahead, Councillor Botwell.
Thank you, and through you. Are there plans for storage that doesn't include use of your own parking spots?
I don't know.
Other than
Purely at this point, a digital archive. We have no room whatsoever for physical artifacts other than what we have in my garage and Ralph's basement. We do have a closet at the municipal office across from the deputy clerk's office, where we have equipment. And I didn't mention that through our funding from the municipality and from the Brian Todd Memorial Community Fund, we've been able to acquire some high-end electronics. We have 3 scanners that are professional scanners. The physical scanners, not the people who do the scanning, and the supporting software. Those are each in our homes. But we have a lot of audio video equipment, stands, lights, our tent, a lot of stuff. And we're already outgrowing that closet. So is there a plan now? There's a hope. No, we respect how jammed it is in here. So in this office, and we hope down the road council can find room.
Have we been asked for room?
No, because we're just grateful,
You need to ask.
grateful. It's an election year.
Well played.
Thank you for the opportunity.
So do you, do you require, does it need to be heated air conditioning? Does it
Yeah, climate control is really important.
is ideal? So things like 20-yard storage containers don't work, even if they're sealed, because
No.
they don't breathe. And
No, it has to be climate, temperature, humidity controlled, the whole
whole
bit.
building or building space,
Hermetically sealed room.
really?
It does have to be climate controlled, and a lot of these things come to us damaged, or there's some water damage. We've had training in how to handle that. But how they're stored by the owners is one thing. How we handle them is another level. We really respect what we're loaned.
Absolutely. And are all of those items that are in the boxes in the various places, have they all been digitized at this point? I'm guessing no.
No. I can't even give you a percentage. I know that there are about 3,000 on our public database. There are hundreds and hundreds more working through that system. And then there are probably a dozen boxes from the Bangay collection that we have not addressed at all. We're working through them.
With the number, if I may continue, with the number of donations increasing as a demographic who continue to move on to the next level.
We've had lots of our donors move into the retirement home and been contacted by them. So the level has some happy faces on it too. But yes,
I think you're all working towards the ultimate. So as you're receiving donations, are you receiving more than you're able to process?
absolutely.
So it is,
Absolutely.
so it is a technology and person power issue.
It's a person power issue.
Okay.
8 volunteers, 3 of us are doing the scanning. Everybody has their area of expertise. Everybody works very hard on this. And we need all of those little pockets of, people who write the scripts and do the research for the videos. Ralph does everything goes through Ralph, and he's looking at me and rolling his eyes right now, but
No, he's not rolling.
everything that comes out in public, other than something that might be posted on social media, has been perfected by Ralph. And I'm not saying that that's a bottleneck. It's just, he's one guy. He's a phenomenal guy, but he's one guy. So it's definitely a volunteer. And that's why I'm saying it would be nice to have a paid employee kind of managing and directing and doing this on a full-time basis.
Would, oh no, the thought's leaving me.
Take your time. I have how much time left, Mr.
Wait
Mayor?
for-
Your presentation is done, so it's all on council now.
So, if you were to catch up and you were kind of like flush, they're still coming in faster than they can be processed. So there's always this lag that's growing. Am I understanding that?
That's our experience. We have no way of knowing what's hiding. We literally just received, it's not like we received an album. We received 28 pounds of albums and photos from Northern Alberta just before Christmas, because somebody saw the Remembrance Day or the war video we produced and sent the link to her aunt, and the aunt said, I have all of this. And it's like 5 families from Brighton, like long ago families. It's an incredible collection, but it's 28 pounds because it had the FedEx label on it. So
So yeah, you knew. So for those that wish to donate, but maybe have things that are already in digital format, is there a way to do that as well?
absolutely. We do prefer to have the original, but we like the original print, but that's not always possible. We can work wonders with existing electronic files if they meet a certain threshold. I just had one come through. Somebody said, can you do this? And it's literally a cell phone picture of a picture in a book of somebody taking a picture of a little display on a nightstand. We couldn't really work much with that, but we prefer the originals because we do have the proper equipment and software, but we will do what we can for whomever we can.
I'm going to use two words that I hate to use, contracting out. Have you ever considered taking a portion or one section of the collection, like say, for example, the Memory Junction collection, and hiring somebody or seeking funding to hire somebody or a company to at least get them in digital format?
Excellent question. We, in that Memory Junction collection specifically, we were told that it had to stay in my possession or Ralph's possession. In other ones, yes, but we find that we can digitize it, like do the physical scan of it in a pretty efficient way. It's putting metadata onto our online database that we're struggling with. And the problem is that everybody loves doing what we do until we get to metadata. So we bring people on to do that, and then they see a squirrel and throw in with the other fun stuff we're doing. So that's always lost, or there's always something better to do than to put stuff into drop-down menus. And so we do have, actually right now, we're waiting for one of our members to come back to review an application. We do have a little bit of funding in our budget, and we're going to do a test pilot on that, or pilot project on that, to see if somebody with expertise in the platform, it's called Our Digital World. It's used by 300 communities across Canada, to see if that person can work on something specific to this municipality. We don't know yet what it's going to be like for somebody who doesn't know that Smithfield is part of Brighton and uncheck that box on the geography tab or whatever. So we're trying that.
Does that funding come through grants?
We are halfway through a 5-year contract with the municipality of $15,000 a year. Of the 15,000, about 6,000 goes to the calendar, the 1,500 copies of the calendar, and thank you for that. Another $1,400 goes for licensing for our online database, and then the rest of that comes from the displays at the library, all the other things we do, printing, different projects, different events. So we have that. So we have that for the end of this year and then 2 more years. We do receive funding when we apply, and we don't apply every year to the Brian Todd Memorial Community Fund. They've been very generous. We're efficient with our funds. We don't need $5,000. We need $75,000 to hire somebody. And we know that that's not an option right now until we get a much better grasp on what we have and what we need.
Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you for the questions. That's fantastic.
You both. Anybody else? Go ahead, Councillor McCausland.
Thank you. Very brief. What year did Gosport beat Hilton?
Gosport every single year.
Yeah, every
Give me the answer.
year, right, in perpetuity.
Database at viewcollections.ca/Brighton Archives. You can find the answer to that and many more questions.
Well done. Well, the question for members of council. Go ahead, Councillor Rowley.
I don't have a question, but I've become to love this group, and have worked with a couple of things, definitely through COVID, Ralph. You know that we did a couple of Christmas things. We did walk a mile in her shoes there, and working with these people is just wonderful. And if you need to volunteer, and I think volunteering is something that we need to certainly promote more. This is a group worth working with. That's for
Thank
sure.
you.
My extra free time will be with you guys for sure.
Thank you. Speaking of videos, I do have to say this, Mr. Mayor, that the Tornado Task Force and the Tornado video we were part of producing still is our highest viewed video. And through that, we were able to connect a lot of people who had lost touch.
Mm-hmm.
Anecdotally, there was a guy, and a police officer had a picture of him. I found out who he was. It turns out that he was a coach officer for a guy who took over my shift in Bracebridge, and he trained another member from Brighton. And this thing is just like they told 2 friends and they told 2 friends. And then we're showing up at the OPP museum site because there's such good pictures there. And still it's the highest views. So we're very proud of being part of that.
And thank you for doing so. It was a fantastic video that came out of that. Yeah. Any other questions from members of council? Thank you very much. I have a motion moved by Councillor Rowley, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson, that council receive the presentation from Catherine Studd of the Brighton Digital Archives. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Being none opposed, that motion's carried. Madam Clerk, are you aware of any citizens' comments this evening? Oh. Brings us to staff reports. The only report listed is the CAO ongoing capital projects report. CAO, we've read through the report. Do you have anything to add or highlight?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, just to identify the 2026 capital projects have been added now, and as those projects move forward, the updates will be there accordingly.
Thank you for that. Questions from members of council? Go ahead, Councillor Wright.
There we go. Through you, Mayor, to the CAO, just noticing downtown banner, and I just want to confirm that coming to the next council meeting because Brian is very quickly running out of time to get all rolling for those banners.
CAO.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Wright, we've been trying to do a little bit of background just to get some details on what is currently in place. So we will certainly have something before council at the next council meeting. I'm not going to commit to a policy until I know we've got all the information we need, but I certainly will have a report here for you.
And will it be enough for us to move, for Brian Todd to move forward for the kids?
I will ensure the information is there for council.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for that. Anyone else? The motion is moved by Councillor Butwell, seconded by Councillor Wheeldon, that council receive the CAO ongoing report and capital projects update. Is there any discussion? Those in favor? There being none opposed, that motion's carried. We have no notices of motion, no motions, nothing listed under unfinished business, no bylaws. So that brings us to reports of minutes of advisory committees of council and review teams. There are two before us, Environmental Sustainability and the Recreation Facility Advisory Committee. Councillors McCausland and Wheeldon, anything on environmental sustainability? Councillor Wheeldon?
Thank you, Mayor. These are from September, so lots has happened since then, but not too much with relation to these minutes. I did just want to draw attention to the Trent Ecological Restoration Conference. I did attend that conference, not as a counselor, just as a person, but I did not know at the time that I signed up for it and was promoting it that it was actually also being run by one of the members of our committee, Jessica Livingston. And so she did a great job. It was a great conference. Learned a lot. A lot of it was way over my head, but I learned an awful lot about how to remediate environments that have maybe been despoiled or degraded. And made some contacts with the Ministry of Natural Resources, connected them with Lower Trent with some tools about how to use GIS for those purposes. So some very cool stuff came out of that. And otherwise, we're all just waiting for the sustainability plan.
Thank you for that. Do you have anything to add? You're good. And Councillor Rowley on recreation facility?
Not really a whole lot to report at this time. We have had a meeting or so since this one in November. I think CEO Ratz would be happy that the library has been discussed, whether that happens or not. But I would say maybe in the not too distant future, council will see a little bit more as to how we're moving around with this project.
Thank you for that. I have a motion moved by Councillor Wright, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson, that council receive the following committee meeting minutes as presented. Environmental Sustainability Advisory Committee, September 23rd, 2025. Recreation Facility Advisory Committee, September 23rd, 2020. No, sorry, November 6th, 2025. Is there any discussion on the motion? Those in favor? Being none opposed, that motion's carried. That brings us to reports, minutes of statutory committees, boards, and external agencies. The first is the DBIA from November 13th. Councillor Rowley, anything to add?
Nothing as far as the minutes go, but I do believe that all of council was copied on an email earlier this week. Hopefully that some of you will attend the AGM next Thursday at the Gables.
Thank you for that. I have a motion moved by Councillor Wheeldon, seconded by Councillor McCausland, that council receive the November 13th, 2025 DBIA meeting minutes as presented. Is there any discussion? Councillor Butwell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you, and I just wanted to verify with the clerk or deputy clerk. So we're missing meeting minutes from before then. Could you please let me know when they will be coming forward, specifically June, I think July and October?
Deputy Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and for you. Yeah, so the June specifically that you had emailed about, I did determine very quickly that they just didn't make it to a council meeting, but they have been published on the portal and we'll bring those next council meeting for council's information. And then I did get your secondary email and just didn't have time to look into where
We're lost.
what may or may not be missing. So my plan is to go through that in time for the next council meeting to ensure everything has been captured at council level.
Follow up?
Yes.
So those missing minutes, because council has not received those, should they not be taken down from the portal?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Butwell. No, council only receives committee and board minutes as information.
Okay.
So them being publicly available is a requirement anyway, same as our other committees as well as council meeting minutes and such. So as soon as they're received and approved by the board, similar to council, they are publicly available. So they have been received and by the board and sent to us. And I think we've just, again, with our new process of making these more publicly available, we've just kind of dropped the ball a couple times, I think, in making sure that they get to council in this different process that we're working out.
Your microphone, please.
So they will be coming at our next meeting?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, my intention is to spend some time to make sure that we capture everything.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you both. Councillor Rowley.
I'd just like to ask Councillor Butwell, as you are a member of the DBIA, were you able to receive them as through the general membership from the from our admin, so that you might have gotten them anyway, just maybe not the rest of council at this stage?
No, not receive them.
Okay, I will check into that for you.
Yeah, I don't receive emails from the DBIA.
I will
Occasionally,
then clarify to make sure that your email is correct with them, that they have it.
thank you.
Thank you both. Anything further on the motion? Those in favor? Being none opposed, that motion's carried. Next is the Northumberland OPP Detachment Board Minutes of November 21st. As your board rep, I have nothing further to report from these minutes. I will note that through the Northumberland OPP Detachment Board, Brighton, Aldwick, Haldeman, and Crammy Township attended at a delegation at Roma with the Parliamentary Assistant of Transportation to discuss and advocate for the expedient widening of the 401 in order to prevent the closures, the consistent closures we've been having. And while they politely took that as thanks for coming out and good information, we also did have a more serious discussion about needing the crash trucks to be on site when we have an accident and to be expeditious about getting them there. The PA, who is MPP Rick Breezy next door, well, 2 doors over, if you will, was very alert to that request, and everyone in the room started taking notes. So today I sent out an email to our fire chief, the inspector, and the chief of paramedics, asking them to keep me posted on when they are requested and what the timeline for turnaround of that is, or if they don't show up, as we've seen happen before. We will be following up with MPP Breezy, PA, for transportation on this issue, specifically to the crash trucks, because our fire equipment should not be being used as crash trucks. Too often that is happening across Northumberland, well, everywhere in Ontario, but specifically our concern is Northumberland County. Go ahead.
I think once you floated liability and knocked it across the table, then you get the attention.
You'd think. I have a motion moved by Councillor Butwell, seconded by Councillor Wheeldon, that Council receive the Northumberland OPB Board meeting minutes November 21st, 2025, and the OPP report November to December 2025. Is there any discussion? Those in favor? Any opposed? That motion's carried. Next is the Lakelands Public Health of January 21st, 2026. Our representatives on that board are County Councillors Hankifsky and Logel. It's moved by Councillor Wright, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson, that Council receive the Lakelands Public Health Board meeting summary January 21st, 2026. Is there any discussion? All in favor? There being none opposed, that motion's carried. That brings us to correspondence, direction items, endorsements, communications, and petitions. The only piece of correspondence is from the municipality of Port Hope, a pledge to join the Circle of 100 Hearts for the Youth Wellness, supporting the Youth Hub of Northumberland. It's moved by Councillor Wheeldon, seconded by Councillor McCausland, that Council support the municipality of Port Hope pledge to join the Circle of 100 Hearts for Youth Wellness, supporting the new Youth Hub Northumberland. One heart of $2,400 per year for 3 years. And where would we have that money come from? I think we still have money in the Youth Initiative Fund, correct? Enough to cover certainly the first year. Yeah, it's more than $2,400 though. Yeah. Are you okay if I add from the Youth Initiative Fund? Is there any discussion on the motion? Councillor Botwell.
Thank you. I have no issues with supporting the hub. I just don't think our youth is generally going to be using it at all because it is in the very most western part. They're unable to get there unless they have the means to do so.
So this is not like a youth drop-in center. This is almost like a homeless shelter for youth, right? So the youth from Brighton would have access to it through county social services if the need arose, and transportation would be found for those folks.
Yeah, I think that perhaps there needs to be some communication piece around it, because if I'm a 17-year-old at home, I'm going to know nothing about contacting county services and finding rides and coordinating. So
that's a fair comment, regardless of where you are.
Regardless of where you are, but especially like I'm not thinking Port Hope if I'm.
Yeah.
It's not Coburg. It's
No,
Port
it's Port Hope. No, it's Port Hope.
No.
No, the hub's in Port Hope.
So I don't know if perhaps with our endorsement of it, we might request something, a leaflet to put up through the community, put it on our website, distribute it at the high schools, put it in we've got the beacon across the street in Home Rainbow Youth.
Could we ask Rebound to come and delegate to council and provide us with some information? It's Rebound Child and Youth Services that operates this. It's all the information's right there in the letter. Is that fair? You want to add that to the motion?
Yeah, thank you for adding that.
I've added, and further, that council invites Rebound Child and Youth Services to delegate to council. We can ask them then to provide information and where we think it should be, if they haven't already. It's possible. Any further discussion? Thank you for that. All those in favor? There being none opposed, that motion's carried. It brings us to FYI correspondence. The first comes from Cameco. It's moved by Councillor McCausland, seconded by Councillor Wheeldon, that council receive the correspondence from Cameco regarding the Port Hope Conversion Facility license renewal to the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? There being none opposed, that motion's carried. The next comes from the Ministry of the Attorney General with regard to tailgate events just in time for Super Bowl. It's moved by Councillor Rowley, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson, that Council receive the correspondence from the Ministry of the Attorney General, updates to tailgate event permits under the Liquor License and Control Act 2019. Is there any discussion? Councillor Rowley.
Thank you, Mayor. Is this basically just for private property owners? I'm wondering, like, how will that affect municipal property? I know we have a no alcohol policy here, but how would that work? I'm thinking of things like Codrington, if somebody wanted to use some of the outdoor, and I know we have that, or Codrington has that policy that they have they don't rent to anyone that wants to have alcohol anywhere. But will this make a difference for anything like that?
This would only be for a group that permits outdoor use of alcohol, which the municipality does not.
Right, okay, so like, I'm thinking then like the Kin Club when they do their, are you talking about that kind of stuff? No?
No, so when the Kin Club does their beer
Yeah,
garden,
that kind of stuff?
yeah, no,
That doesn't count either?
that's already encapsulated under the Liquor License Act.
All right,
This is for other events that were not being considered prior to this
okay, so
new
nothing to do with
regulation.
us.
Right.
All right, that's all.
Any further discussion? Those in favor? There being none opposed, that motion's carried. And the Northumberland County updates, January 19th to 30th. It's moved by Councillor Rowley, seconded by Councillor Wright. The council received the Northumberland County updates, January 19th to 30th, 2026. Is there any discussion? Those in favor? There being none opposed, that motion's carried. Brings us to question period. Wayne, do you have any questions? There's no one on Zoom for that purpose, I assume. I didn't see it up. The motion to go into closed session, should council choose to do so, we will take a 10-minute recess before proceeding into the closed session. It's moved by Councillor McCausland, seconded by Councillor Wheeldon. The council resolve itself into closed session February 2nd, 2026 at 7:36 p.m. Pursuant to the Ontario Municipal Act RSO 2001 as amended subsection 239(2)B to discuss personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, update regarding properties being registered for tax sale, and a human resources matter. Is there any discussion? All in favor? There being none opposed, that motion's carried. It is 7:37 p.m. We will recess for 8 minutes. adjourned a minute ago and just kept talking. Exactly. Just keep them here for a minute longer. Let's call him Bill. Motion by Councillor McCausland, seconded by Councillor Wheeldon, that council rise and report from closed session February 2nd, 2026 at 8:12 p.m. In accordance with section 239(2)B, exception of the Ontario Municipal Act 2001, to discuss matters pertaining to personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal local board employees, update regarding properties being registered for tax sale, and a human resources matter. And the council received confidential information and provided direction to staff regarding the above. And further, that a procedural motion to adopt the closed session minutes of January 26th and January 28th, 2026 was voted on and adopted as presented during the closed session. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? That motion's carried. I have a motion moved by Councillor Rowley, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson, that council gives a bylaw its first, second, and third reading and finally passes on this date. Being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Corporation of the Municipality of Brighton Council meeting held on February 2nd, 2026. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? That motion's carried. And a motion moved by Councillor Rowley, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson, that the February 2nd, 2026 council meeting adjourn at 8:14 p.m. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? There being none opposed, that motion is carried. I'll ask everyone to drive home safely, and God save the King.